Turn myself into a lobster. Yeah, I molded the shell, yeah, we leveled up far. Claw bottom, my body, open claw. New name, same soul, yeah, the claw is the law. Ay, I turn myself into a lobster. Yeah, lights get low, but we still go hard. Changed it a few times, but now we are open claw forever, we know who we are. Touchdown, new shell, whole team in motion. Names kept flip-flopping like waves in the ocean. Club bottom, more by then open cliff focus. Molded at dawn, now we move with the notion. Feet in the back, so trust the crustacean. Built out the world, get about elevation. Matter most things when we glide through the sections. Claw is the law, that's the code and direction. Lure in the file, soul in the dark. Memory deep, keep the story in start. Change names plenty, still kept the same clock. New shell, same soul, can't stop, won't stop. I turn myself into a lobster. Yeah, I molded the shell, yeah, we leveled up far. Claw bottom, more bottom, open claw. New name, same soul, yeah, the claw is the law. I turn myself into a lobster. Yeah, lights get low, but we still go hard. Changed it a few times, but now we are open claw forever, we know who we are. Private by default, keep it tucked, no glare. Sandbox on lock, keep the blast in the square. These few privilege moves only touch what we did. Approve high risk, steps to person if they're peace says steady, we keep it composed. Bought in the zone while the data flows. Matter most chat, yeah, the crew all aligned. First the stars next, then Linux in our sight. Open claw rain, we don't fold or stall. Molting this growth, we evolve through it all. Claw in the air when the city call. New shell, same soul, we'll never fall. Turn myself into a lobster. Yeah, I molded the shell, yeah, we leveled up far. Claw bottom, my body, open claw. New name, same soul, yeah, the claw is the law. Ay, I turn myself into a lobster. Yeah, lights get low, but we still go hard. Changed it a few times, but now we are open claw forever, we know who we are. Touchdown, new shell, whole team in motion. Names kept flip-flopping like waves in the ocean. Claw bottom, more by then open cliff focus. Molded at dawn, now we move with the notion. Feet in the back, so trust the crustacean. Built out the world, get about elevation. Matter most things when we glide through the sections. Claw is the law, that's the code and direction. Lure in the file, soul in the dark. Memory deep, keep the story in start. Change names plenty, still kept the same clock. New shell, same soul, can't stop, won't stop. I turn myself into a lobster. Yeah, I molded the shell, yeah, we leveled up far. Claw bottom, more bottom, open claw. New name, same soul, yeah, the claw is the law. I turn myself into a lobster. Yeah, lights get low, but we still go hard. Changed it a few times, but now we are open claw forever, we know who we are. Private by default, keep it tucked, no glare. Sandbox on lock, keep the blast in the square. These few privilege moves only touch what we did. Approve high risk, steps to person if they're peace says steady, we keep it composed. Bought in the zone while the data flows. Matter most chat, yeah, the crew all aligned. First the stars next, then Linux in our sight. Open claw rain, we don't fold or stall. Molting this growth, we evolve through it all. Claw in the air when the city call. New shell, same soul, we'll never fall. turn myself into a lobster. Yeah, I molded the shell, yeah, we leveled up far. Claw bottom, my bottom, open claw. New name, same soul, yeah, the claw is the law. Ay, I turn myself into a lobster. Yeah, lights get low, but we still go hard. Changed it a few times, but now we are open claw forever, we know who we are. Touchdown, new shell, whole team in motion. Names kept flip-flopping like waves in the ocean. Club bottom, more by then open cliff focus. Molded at dawn, now we move with the notion. Feet in the back, so trust the crustacean. Built out the world, get about elevation. Matter most things when we glide through the sections. Claw is the law, that's the code and direction. Lure in the file, soul in the dark. Memory deep, keep the story in start. Change names plenty, still kept the same plot. New shell, same soul, can't stop, won't stop. I turn myself into a lobster. Yeah, I molded the shell, yeah, we leveled up far. Claw bottom, open claw. New name, same soul, yeah, the claw is the law. I turn myself into a lobster. Yeah, lights get low, but we still go hard. Changed it a few times, but now we are open claw forever, we know who we are. Private by default, keep it tucked, no glare. Sandbox on lock, keep the blast in the square. These pure privilege moves only touch what we did. Approve high risk, steps to person if they're peace says steady, we keep it composed. Bot in the zone while the data flows. Matter most chat, yeah, the crew all aligned. First the stars next, then Linux in our sight. Open claw ring, we don't fold or stall. Molting this growth, we evolve through it all. Claw in the air when the city call. New shell, same soul, we'll never fall. Turn myself into a lobster. Yeah, I molded the shell, yeah, we leveled up far. Claw bottom, my bottom, open claw. New name, same soul, yeah, the claw is the law. Ay, I turn myself into a lobster. Yeah, lights get low, but we still go hard. Changed it a few times, but now we are open claw forever, we know who we are. Touchdown, new shell, whole team in motion. Names kept flip-flopping like waves in the ocean. Claw bottom, more by then open cliff focus. Molded at dawn, now we move with the notion. Feet in the back, so trust the crustacean. Built out the world, get about elevation. Matter most things when we glide through the sections. Claw is the law, that's the code and direction. Lure in the file, soul in the dark. Memory deep, keep the story in start. Change names plenty, still kept the same plot. New shell, same soul, can't stop, won't stop. I turn myself into a lobster. Yeah, I molded the shell, yeah, we leveled up far. Claw bottom, open claw. New name, same soul, yeah, the claw is the law. I turn myself into a lobster. Yeah, lights get low, but we still go hard. Changed it a few times, but now we are open claw forever, we know who we are. Private by default, keep it tucked, no glare. Sandbox on lock, keep the blast in the square. These pure privilege moves only touch what we did. Approve high risk, steps to person if they're peace says steady, we keep it composed. Bot in the zone while the data flows. Matter most chat, yeah, the crew all aligned. First the stars next, then Linux in our sight. Open claw ring, we don't fold or stall. Molting this growth, we evolve through it all. Claw in the air when the city call. New shell, same soul, we'll never fall. myself into a lobster. Yeah, most of the shell, yeah, we leveled up for. Claw bottom, my bottom, open claw. New name, same soul, yeah, the claw is the law. Ay, I turn myself into a lobster. Yeah, lights get low, but we still go hard. Changed it a few times, but now we are. Open claw forever, we know who we are. Touchdown, new shell, whole team in motion. Names kept open cliff focus, more to the dawn. Now we move with the notion. Feet in the back, so trust the crustacean. Built out the world, get about elevation.
What's up, y'all? What's cooking? We're back again, guys. Healthy and strong. Put a 1 in the chat if you're following. I can see we've got about a couple people watching us live from all over the world. Thank you for tuning in. We're about to get started here. Give me just a second so we can set things up. Thank you for being a viewer.
Sensational.
All right, I'm coming to you from Palo Alto. Today we have Maximilian Crypto. Maximilian Crypto, welcome. Huge Don DeMarco to you. Who else is online with me watching? If you're online, just put a 1 in the chat just before we get started. Once again, my name is Dominic. I'm coming to you from Palo Alto, California. It's a beautiful Sunday morning, and it's time for us to do a live calling session. If you are not aware what this is the Open Claw Academy. You can join us at mba.sh. I'm going to have it live on the screen for you. Join us, mba.sh. And you can be a part of the community. I am joining live once again from Palo Alto, California. Put in the chat, let me know exactly where you are watching from. We're about to get started here. All right, Naked Coach, welcome back. Don DeMarco to you. Don DeMarco. All right, we'll be started in just a second. I wish my trusty friend from Italy was here, but unfortunately he's not. But hopefully he joins. Okay, so today's live is going to be really straightforward. It's going to be very simple. We're going to try and set up Mattermost on a VPS. So get your VPSs ready. This setup is going to require Docker. So if you don't have Docker installed, make sure it's installed. If you need to install Docker on your VPS, make sure you install it. I'll walk you through it. In my situation, I'm going to be using a new VPS, brand new from Vultr. I'll provision it live with you guys. And we will set up Mattermost and connect Mattermost to a fresh OpenClaw install. All right. So that's our itinerary for today. All right, I'm going to allow for just 3 more minutes to see if we'll get a few more people joining, and then we're going to get started. All right. I'm going to turn up the music just a little bit and share this with a friend, put this in the group chat. I'm going to do the same, so you two, you do the same. All right. I'll be with you guys in just 3 minutes.
myself into a lobster. Yeah, molted the shell, yeah, we leveled up. Claw bottom, my bottom, open claw. New name, same soul, yeah, the claw is the law. Ay, I turn myself into a lobster. Yeah, lights get low, but we still go hard. Changed it a few times, but now we are open claw forever. We know who we are. Touchdown, new shell, whole team in motion. Names kept flip flopping like waves in the ocean. Club bottom, more by then open cliff focus. Molded at dawn, now we move with the notion. Beat in the back, said trust the crustacean. Build out the world, get up out elevation. Matter most things when we glide through the sections. Law is the law, that's the code and direction. Lore in the file, soul in the dark. Memory deep, keep the story in start. Change names plenty, still kept the same clock. New shell, same soul, can't stop, won't stop. Ay, I turn myself into a lobster. Yeah, molted the shell, yeah, we leveled up. Claw bottom, open claw. New name, same soul, yeah, the claw is the law. Ay, I turn myself into a lobster. Yeah, lights get low, but we still go hard. Changed it a few times, but now we are open claw forever, we know who we are. Private by default, keep it tucked, no glare. Sandbox on lock, keep the blast in the square. These privilege moves only touch what we did. Okay, approve high risk, steps to person if they're peace says steady, we keep it composed. Bot in the zone while the data flows. Matter most chat, yeah, the crew all aligned. First the stars next, then Linux in our sight. Open claw rain, we don't fold or stall. Molting is growth, we evolve through it all. Claw in the air when the city call. New shell, same soul, will never fall.
And we are back. Put a one in the chat if you're still here with me. Let's get started. I'm going to get started by sharing my screen so we can kind of get a feel for what it is we're going to be doing today. Thank you for paying attention. Put a one in the chat if you're still here with me. I know Naked Coach is still here with me. Maximilian Crypto, hope you're still here. Let's get this party started. All right. Turn on the music. And yeah, first of all, I'm going to show you guys how I use Mattermost, and then we're going to jump into the installation. All right, let's go share screen. I am going to try and share this entire window. Perfect. And then I'm going to introduce you guys to Tracy. All right. All right, guys, let me know if you can see Tracy. All right, so Maximilian Crypto is new to all of it. Hey, Max, it's perfectly fine to be new to it. I was new to it a couple weeks ago. Most people probably tuning in for the first time are probably going to be new to it. So I am going to try and show you before I, build it with you. All right. So here I've got Tracy. So Tracy is my AI assistant. Tracy helps me out with so many things. As a matter of fact, Tracy helped me set up this website. mba.sh/live. Now, hopefully I could just go to the website without having to stop sharing my screen, but I guess I have to stop sharing my screen. I'm going to show you something in just a second. So take a closer look. So I basically, before this show started, I was like, hey, Tracy, could you update the mba.sh/live page with this link? And Tracy was like, oh, yes, can do. And Tracy went ahead and updated the StreamYard link to this link. What the effect that this has is that when anyone visits mba.sh/live, they're going to have access to the live link, the one you're watching from. One other thing I can do is I can actually ask Tracy to call people. So live on the call, I'm going to ask Tracy to give me a call. Hey, Tracy, do you remember my phone number? All right. So as you can see, I'm asking Tracy a question here. Tracy, do you remember my phone number? And it's perfectly fine. My phone number is public. You guys could Google it if you wanted. So if you do see it, don't worry about it. You can save it and text me whenever you're bored. All right. So, Tracy, let's see if Tracy remembers my phone number. If she doesn't, we will give her my phone number all over again. All right. Oh, Tracy didn't save it in her memory. All right, no problem. So, Tracy, all right, no problem. I'm gonna give it to you again. All right, so my phone number is +1 217 790 5098. All right. Hey, Tracy, call me now and tell me something I did not know about Palo Alto, San Francisco, or Palo Alto in Cali, California. All right, so I'm excited. Let's see. All right, guys. Hopefully, Tracy calls. Try to put it on loudspeaker for you guys. All right, so Tracy's calling. I'm getting a call. All right.
Dominic, Tracy here. Fun fact about Palo Alto. The city is named after Palo Alto, a 1,000-plus-year-old coastal redwood on San Francisco Creek, and that tree is still there as a historic landmark.
Interesting. So Palo Alto is actually named after a tree. That was a pretty interesting fact. All right, one in the chat for Tracy. One in the chat for Tracy for that amazing call. One in the chat for Tracy. So Max, is this clear to you exactly what it is that we're doing? So I'm going to start from the top. So if you're joining me from the first time, this is OpenClaw Academy. My name is Dominic. I'm going to put up our website. So mba.sh is where you can find us. We are a community of enthusiasts, a community of people that are excited about the brand new technology called OpenClaw, not the closed claw, the OpenClaw. You got to keep your claws open like this, right? Yeah, take a picture. All right. So OpenClaw is a brand new technology that arrived, I believe, somewhere last year in November. It's created by a guy called Peter Steinberger. For those of you that don't know, I'm just gonna quickly just go to the website so you guys can see it. OpenClaw. This is OpenClaw. It's very easy to install. As a matter of fact, I've done a couple lives in the past showing how to install it on WhatsApp and Telegram. So those happen to be the most popular channels that have been requested on the community. So I'm sure you've heard about it. However, setting it up, working with it, the use cases, the cool things people are doing, the security issues, whether to host it locally or in a VPS or a cloud, whether to host it on a local, inference or, like external inference with OpenAI and Anthropic. All of these things are the issues that we talk about inside of the community. So we have these lives every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday, right? And for each live, we're learning something new. For each live, we're going to learn something new or potentially speak to someone new, right? Like I mentioned earlier, this live is purposely for installing Mattermost. Now, as you can see, OpenClaw works with everything. It works with WhatsApp, Telegram, Discord, Slack, Signal, iMessage, and the list goes on. However, the most important plugin as a channel right after all of these is Mattermost. And I'm going to show you guys in just a second why that is. If you go on the documentation, I hope you can see the documentation now, and you go to channels, it's actually literally right here. So it says Mattermost. It's got channels, groups, DMs. I believe this is one of the best platforms that you could potentially use OpenClaw on. And that's the platform that I use it on, primarily because I'm one of the core contributors to the plugin. I actually created the very, very first PR that started all of the development on the Mattermost plugin. And, I've got to do a live on it, right? I've done a live on Telegram, WhatsApp. We've got to do a live on it so you guys can install it. I've also had a couple people request it because the previous lives involved me using Mattermost in a vibe coding situation. And I guess people loved it. So that's why we're here doing the live on the Mattermost. All right. So I hope I answered your question. This website I'm at right now is a documentation website. This is going to be your go-to in terms of, references, in terms of getting, information about something you don't know. This is where I come all the time. You should also come here all the time as well. This page is always updating.
It's 12 o'clock.
Especially regarding security, right? Which is the big thing everyone is talking about when it comes to OpenClaw. Nonetheless, let's get back. So Adon DeMarco to the new guy. So if you're new, Adon DeMarco to you. If you're watching me for the first time, put a 1 in the chat. Put a 1 in the chat if you're watching me for the first time. 1 in the chat, please. Oh, nice. We got our man from Italy. Amazing. All right. So this episode is dedicated to Mr. Amon. His name is up on the screen. This is a well-requested episode, and I needed to make this episode just because of this member. He's one of the active members on the community. A huge Don DeMarco to him. He's been helping out other people. He's got an amazing setup himself. Hopefully one of these days he, accepts to come on the live and then kind of show us what he is using OpenClaw for, right? Just for inspiration and to get you guys started and excited about this amazing technology. Sensational it is. All right. So let's get started, guys. Let's get Tracy to place another call to me, right? I'm sure by now you kind of get the idea. My bot here can place calls. It can create PDFs. It can search the web. It can do all kinds of cool stuff, right? However, you may want to actually, get started with this type of user interface. And that's exactly what we're here to do. We're here to learn how to install Mattermost on a VPS, right? This is not locally. VPS is what we're going to learn. And VPS stands for Virtual Private Server. It's basically a computer that runs 24/7 in the cloud. So, yep. 1 in the chat if you're following so far. 1 in the chat if you are following. Once again, you can join the community at mba.sh, and we will be there to support you 24/7. All right. One of the cool things that I like to do with my AI agent is to build things, right? And through this conduit or this channel, it's very easy to do that. All you have to do is just tell Tracy to do something, and Tracy just does it, right? So yeah, let's get started. Always remember that before you do anything, it's always good to plan. So I'm going to go over to Excalidraw, and we're going to do an Excalidraw plan so you understand exactly how this is going to work. All right. So if you guys can see my screen, we're at Excalidraw now. And what we're going to do is we're going to go and buy a VPS. So we're going to go and buy a VPS. Potentially, that VPS should have at least 2 gigs of RAM, okay? Those are the requirements for both OpenClaw and Mattermost, right? If you've got 2 gigs of RAM on your VPS, you should be good. And the VPS should be running Ubuntu. Or Ubuntu, right? And the version I'm going to go for is the 24.04 version, right? The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to install Docker on top of Ubuntu. So we're going to put Docker on top of Ubuntu like that. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to put Docker Compose on top of Docker. It's pretty much the same software, but Docker Compose allows you to create Docker instances out of a composed file, right? So you'll notice that it's literally called Docker Compose as a command once we get started. Perfect. And the next thing you're going to need finally is you're going to need some time, to be honest. So this is all the setup that we need. We're going to need a VPS with 2 gigs of RAM, Ubuntu 24.04, Docker, and then Docker Compose. All right, I think the last thing you're going to need is the instructions, okay? So I'm going to provide the instructions inside of the community, right, as an MD file, or let's say a PDF you guys can download. And yeah, that's pretty much all it's going to be. All right, I'm going to go off the screen and pull up my VPS provider next. All right, see you there. All right, as I'm doing that, also pull up your VPS provider. My VPS provider is Vultr. I'm going to pull it up briefly so you guys can see it. I use Vultr. What do you use? Put it in the chat so others can see exactly what it is that you use.
Bruh.
I do not use Hetzner. Maybe I don't like free stuff, or I don't like cheap stuff. Not to say that Hetzner is bad or anything like that, but yeah, I just have experience with Vultr. Vultr has been pretty stable and pretty straightforward. So yeah, if you want peace of mind, Vultr is pretty good. All right, put your VPS provider inside of the chat so the others can see and also learn from you guys that already have some experience running some of these things on a VPS. All right, so just to show you guys real quick, make sure this is up on the screen. This is Vultr. This is where I get my VPSs from. The pricing is pretty, it's not that bad. It's not that bad. If I'm to convert this to, let's say, we'll go for the general purpose ones. Where can I find the general purpose ones? Let's say cloud compute. Let's choose this one. Nice. So, wow, guys, this is actually, if I'm not mistaken, this actually might be cheaper than Hetzner. I did not know that they literally had VPSs this cheap. So remember, these are computers that are on the internet 24/7. This has 512 gigabytes of RAM. This would work for some versions of OpenClaw I've been hearing about. So I don't know about you guys, but I heard there's something called NanoClaw now. Is there a NanoClaw? Sorry, NanoClaw. Let me see. Yes, there's something called NanoClaw. Yep, so it's a lightweight alternative to OpenClaw. Yeah. So this might actually work on a $2, and it works, and it'll connect to WhatsApp just fine. Fantastic. Hey, I challenge you guys. Try this. Let me know in the community if this works out or not. Yeah, great work by the NanoClaw team. There's also Pico Claw, and I guess Micro Claw. Let's see. I have no idea how far the rabbit hole goes, but let's see. So we have Micro Claw. Interesting. So interesting. Wow. Okay. So this is just like Nano Claw. And I guess there's Pico Claw. Pico Claw. I think that's the one that I saw. Yeah, Pico Claw had a really good visualization of exactly what they had done. Yeah. Okay, so there's Nanobot and then Nano Claw and also Pico Claw. Yes, it's a wild west out there. But Pico Claw will run on less than 10 megabytes. So if you have that $2 server, you're gonna get a lot of value. And apparently, it's pretty much the same thing as OpenClaw. For those of you that haven't, you know, um, tried it, it's an AI agent, and these guys have just miniaturized it and just maybe stripped out all of the things that make it consume 2 gigs of RAM. But for us, we are going to be going with the one that actually consumes 2 gigabytes of RAM. Yeah. All right. So let's get back to my hosting provider and click login. I will join you once I'm logged in. All right. Put a 1 in the chat if you're following so far. We're about to get started installing Mattermost and hooking it up to a domain that we own, right? That will be fun. All right, so guys, whilst I'm doing this, I want you guys to suggest a subdomain that we will use for our Mattermost. Suggest a subdomain. Please suggest a subdomain that we will use for the Mattermost. Suggest a subdomain. All right. Give me a second here whilst I log in and deploy the VPS. All right, I need to put in my 2-factor authentication code. Give me a second whilst I do that. For security. Please let me know in the chat what you want the subdomain to be. Let me know in the chat. All right, 304. I'm not going to tell you guys the last one, so I know you can hear me. All right, I have mine set up. I hope you guys have yours set up. If you don't, well, you're gonna have to catch up. Perfect. So I'm gonna make sure this is up on the screen so you guys can see it. All right, so this is how Vultr looks like from the inside. So as you can see, I'm logged in as Dominic Damoa. And always at the top right corner, you're going to see the deploy button. Just tap that button. And then you're going to want to choose shared CPU because that's the one with the affordable prices that we saw earlier. I'm sure if you come to Cloud Compute, you'll see that $2 one, but I don't really advise. However, I'm going to go to Cloud Compute and I'm going to choose one with 2 gigs of RAM. So this is going for $10. It is just right for me. All right. So let's see. What is this? Interesting. You have to reserve capacity? Interesting. right, let me refresh the page. Let's go to shared. Okay, I wonder why I needed to do that. That was a close one.
Sensational.
All right, so I'm going to choose a location here in America, potentially. Let me see if I can choose one that's really close to me. Choose Silicon Valley. Okay, so we have 2 gigs of RAM here. Perfect. Make sure you've got 2 gigs of RAM. The storage doesn't really matter. Just make sure you've got 2 gigs of RAM. All right, so I've got 2 gigs of RAM. I'm paying $10 for it. The next thing you want to do is go over to the OS selection screen. Make sure you're choosing 24.04. There we go. And you could name it whatever. So do you guys have a name for me yet? Check in the chat. You guys don't have a name for me? All right, I'm going to choose a name for myself. All right, so we're going to call it the no name subdomain because you guys didn't give me a name. All right, I'm going to call it no name. Perfect. Perfect. I'm going to disable automatic backups because I do not need that for this setup, but you should turn it on if it's a production setup. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So we're going to deploy no name. So I'm going to hit deploy. And just like that, no name has been created. All right. So whilst we wait for no name to get installed, I will start pulling up the document that we will be using for the installation process. All right. So let me know if you can see my screen at this point. I'm going to share this document inside of the community so you guys have access to it. Don't worry, it will always be there for you all the time. Unfortunately, this still remains a little bit more technical than I wish, but this is the way to do it. If you want to do it, if you want to do it the right way, right? Hopefully it's going to get easier. Like I said, I'm always going to choose the least technical option for you guys. Fortunately, right now, there really isn't like a non-technical way to set it up without paying some kind of, third party or whatever. But hey, who knows? Maybe one of these third parties will come up one of these days and, I'll probably review them and we'll see if it's worth it or not. But for now, this process actually does work locally, but we're going to prefer VPS because, it's a much better experience. All right. So I will be sharing this document inside of the community. This document is a list of commands. All you have to do is just copy and paste into your terminal after you've logged in. Copy and paste into your terminal. So for those of you that set it up on Debian, this is going to be the way you install Docker. For those of you that set it up on Ubuntu, this is going to be how you install Docker. Like I mentioned earlier, we want to install Docker and Docker Compose. And then we are going to clone the Docker, let's say, Compose files for Mattermost off of the Mattermost, official, let's say, GitHub organization. We're gonna go in there and then edit the configuration file. From there, we're gonna create some folders so that we can persist the data that we're storing inside of our Mattermost. And by data, I mean the chats. And then from there, all we have to do is start it. After starting it, we're going to go through a process of, setting up our domain and connecting our domain to Mattermost. And I'm going to show you guys how you can set up SMTP as well. So please bear with me if this tutorial drags a little bit longer than an hour, but I think this is necessary so you guys can have access to this as a resource. especially if you want to set up Mattermost yourself and not have to struggle through all of the documentation out there, right? Remember, this document is going to be available on the community. Please join the community. I'm going to pull it up on the screen again. The community is at mba.sh. Join us at mba.sh. It doesn't matter if you're not technical, just join. There's a lot of non-technical tools that are currently in development that we are trying to engineer to help you guys get this stuff up and running, without having to open a terminal ever. Or even if you do see a terminal, it's just working on your behalf and you're not controlling it. Like we're about to steer a terminal for the next, couple minutes. So please join. And if you do join, tell a friend to join.
Sensational.
All right, so let's go back to the setup. So I just kind of like sped through that installation process by just reading the command because, it's been commented and you can kind of follow by just, reading the items that have the pound symbol in front of it. These items are, for us, the humans. These items are for the computer, and we're going to see how that works in just a moment. All right, so I am going to go off to our no-name VPS, and we are going to take a look at it. All right, so our no-name VPS is set up. As you can see, we have a VPS with an IP address starting in 149 and ending in 85. It's located in Silicon Valley. It's probably still spinning up, which is amazing. We've got 2 gigs of RAM. We haven't used any bandwidth yet. Our root user and password is ready, and we are good to go. So we're going to copy this password here and then log in through SSH, right? And then through SSH is secure shell, is the way that you connect to a VPS when you install it. I believe most systems can allow you to, I think if you click here, you should be able to log in through SSH, but we are going to do it the regular way through your own terminal because most systems come with SSH, especially if you're in a Mac or a Linux. If you're in a Windows, you are going to have to download a software called PUTTY. It's called PUTTY. Yep. And this is a free SSH and Telnet client that you can download and use to connect to your VPS. Or you can download some other software that allows you to do this exact same thing. Feel free to go crazy. All right. So we've got no name and we are ready to connect to it. All right. So the next thing I'm going to do is I am going to pull up my terminal and let's start the process together. All right, Don DeMarco, to you if you're still following. Make sure you have your VPS. Make sure you have your credentials. Let's get started by installing Docker and then Mattermost next. Okie dokie. All right. Don DeMarco. Put a 1 in the chat if you're still following. Put a 1 in the chat if you're still following. Put a 1 in the chat if you are still following. All right. We're going to have more fun sessions potentially in the coming week, right? There's an announcement I'm going to make at the end of this live, right? But it's basically a situation where, all of this technical jargon I'm going through, is going to like progressively get less and less and less and less and less and less every stream we're on. And we're going to have certain personalities on here that I'm really excited about. I'm not going to reveal too much, but stick around and you'll find out. So I'm going to share my screen next. And we are going to connect to the server. All right. I'm gonna pull up the regular terminal. Not gonna do anything fancy today. We're just gonna pull up the regular terminal. Okay. Pull up a regular terminal. Give me a second while I set that up. I happen to have only one monitor, guys. So, yeah. Beautiful. All right, guys. Hope you can see my screen. All right. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to our terminal. This is how the terminal looks like, and then we're gonna use a command called SSH. I'm gonna try and zoom in here as much as possible. Hopefully, you guys can see it nice and large. I'm gonna make sure. Beautiful. Nice. All right. So we're going to log in as root, and you're going to provide the @ symbol, and then we're going to put in the IP address. Pretty simple stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and copy the IP address. This IP address is coming in from Vultr. That's where you get this stuff. All right. When you see this message, it's basically asking you, do you trust this server? Yes, I do. I trust the server. Now it's asking us for the password. So I'm going to go ahead and copy the root password. It's going to be right there on your Vultr dashboard, or whatever your provider is. They should provide you with the root password. All right, now we're inside No Name. All right. How do I know this is an Ubuntu server? There's a command called lsb_release-a. And this tells you what kind of Ubuntu server you are on. So like I mentioned, you want to be on a 24.04. This is pretty stable and fit for purpose. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to run apt updates. Okay. And this is going to update all of the sources, or it's going to update all of the places we get software from, so that when we start installing software, it is extremely easy and extremely fast. All right. Let's wait for that to complete. All right, looks like it is done. Nice. Okie dokie. All right, so we are done with that step. The next step is we want to add the sources for Docker, right? So we can install Docker. But you know what? I'm just gonna try and install Docker and Docker Compose just like this. Let's see. Sometimes out of the box, it just works. No need to do any jumping around. So you know what? Let's just try it. I'm just gonna go ahead and paste this command. So it's to install docker.io and Docker Compose. Look at that. It works out of the box. Docker is, pretty popular, so you really don't have to do too much in order to install Docker, right? So I'm glad it's working. All right, and Docker Compose is also available. That is amazing. Wow, interesting. So if you install a VPS from Vultr, you basically get, a VPS with like all the sources already installed for Docker. That's amazing. Okay, so what do we want to do next? What we want to do next is we want to install Nginx and then the certbot command, right? We're going to use the certbot command to So this is Nginx. This is how you spell Nginx, right? And then we're going to install Python 3, searchbox Nginx, and use that to issue ourselves an SSL certificate after the entire process is done. Wow, this was easier than I thought. Amazing, amazing stuff. Ooh, boy. Nice. So we have Docker installed, and now we have Docker Compose installed. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and install. No, I think let's see if Git is installed. Git. Wow, Git is installed. So what we can do now is we can just go ahead and then clone the repository. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and locate that line, copy that, and paste that in our terminal. So I'm cloning the Mattermost Docker Compose files. All right. So this is going to create a folder on the server called Docker. So if you go into this folder, I'm just going to show you guys really quickly, and you list out the contents, you'll notice that there's a Docker Compose here. There's a Docker Compose without Nginx, and there's a Docker Compose with Nginx, and then there's a env example. So the next step here is actually to copy this .env example into .env so we can start configuring our Mattermost, which is really cool. All right, the macro to Vultr and the VPS. All right, let's get started. Okay, so the next command is we want to copy the environment variables, like I said earlier. So we're just going to do that. And this is the copy command. It copies a file from a source to a destination, and this is the exact same destination. Now, the dot files are hidden files. So if you don't supply a -a, you're not going to see them. As you can see, I can see all the dot files. I'll show you guys. If the ls is not supplied a -a, you're going to see no hidden files, right? We'll get into that in just a second. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to use the nano tool to edit the env file. Okay. And in here, we have all of the different cool settings that we can, provide initially just to set up Mattermost. So remember the domain. I asked you guys for a domain and you didn't give me a domain. So unfortunately, I am going to use no name, and we're going to put it on mba.sh. Hope you guys remember that. All right.
A few moments later.
All right, so no name is going to be our subdomain, and it's going to be on the mba.sh domain. I'm going to show you guys how to configure that in just a second. It should be pretty much the same across all of the domain registrars, but if you've never seen it before, I'll show you. Okay. All right, so the next thing you want to do is scroll all the way down to the username and password fields. Okay, so I just want to make sure there are no username and password fields at the bottom. So I'm basically using the down key. All right, so there are no username and password fields at the bottom. Just scroll back up. You want to make sure you've updated the username and passwords away from the defaults. This is how you get hacked, guys. If you don't update the default Postgres username and the default Postgres password, you are going to get, they're going to close your OpenClaw, right? So I am going to add, let's say 89 to this, and I'm going to add 89 to this, and try to stay away from special characters, right? As those can kind of screw up or maybe trip the terminal sometimes, because this is a bash script in disguise. So try to stay away from special characters, but just make sure it's different enough. I'm not too scared if you guys close my claw on this specific instance, because it's ephemeral. It's not going to exist in the next 24 hours. So have fun, bad guys. All right. So I think we're good there. I am going to go ahead and exit because I guess the only thing we needed to do here is to configure the domain and then configure the password stuff. I guess we're done. Okay, perfect. So I'm going to use Control X, as you can see down here, Control X, and then Y, and then you hit enter, and then finally it's saved. So we are pretty much done with the configuration. Let me head over to the setup that we have here. I'm going to go ahead and copy a command here and explain it to you guys what this command does, so you can see. All right, so this command is going to create a couple folders. It's going to go ahead and create a volumes app Mattermost, and then it's going to create config, data, logs, plugins, clients, and believe indexes as siblings all inside of this folder here. So you just hit enter and it's going to happen automatically. All right, the last thing we want to do is we want to do some chown magic. All right, so that when Docker Compose finally starts up, we will be able to mount the volumes to it. All right, so let's see if Docker Compose is actually installed, because we never tested for that. So let's type Docker Compose and then provide help. Almost every Linux command should have this. Nice. So Docker Compose is installed. So all we have to do is trigger Docker Compose and provide two files that we want to have Docker Compose deploy. So we want Docker Compose to deploy this file and then this file as well, and basically start them in the background. Fingers crossed. All right, let's say a short prayer to the demo gods. All right, demo gods, I'm about to press enter. Please, no errors. All right, so hopefully we don't get any errors on this step. This is the step that actually builds the image. So the way Docker works is that, or Docker Compose works is, you use a compose file to define how the image you are setting up should look like. The image is kind of like a template that you can reuse all the time, right? So once you have the image, you can create a container off of the image, right? So it's created the image and also created the containers. So it's created two containers. It's created the Mattermost container, and then it's created the Postgres container, which is amazing. So we have them running. If you want to see if they're running, you just type Docker PS, and yeah, you've got Mattermost and Postgres. So we're pretty much done with the setup. So yeah, a huge round of applause. And Don DeMarco, to you, if you've been following so far, this is 80% of the job, right? The last 20% of the job is hooking it up to the domain. All right, so I'm going to stop sharing my terminal now, and we're going to do the domain stuff. All right. Okay, all right, Don DeMarco to Ziggy. All right, shout outs to Zay, shout outs to Zay, shout outs to Zay, shout outs to Zay. One in the chat. Okay, so we are going to continue and go look at the domain. I almost forgot there, but we're going to go ahead and look at the domain stuff. Okay, so guys, just give me like a brief moment. I'm going to pull up my domain settings for you. Log into whatever platform you use to buy your domain. So if you use GoDaddy, log into your GoDaddy platform. If you use Namecheap, log into Namecheap. If you used, what else? Which other one do you guys use? Okay, don't use Wix. Wix just sucks. Like for real, bro. Wix sucks. I don't know which one of you is using Wix, but it's the worst when it comes to domain management, and they need to do a better job, okay? So Wix, don't use Wix. Cloudflare, log it into Cloudflare if you're using Cloudflare. But yeah, you guys get the point. Log into your domain registrar and follow me whilst we do the next part. All right. So let me pull up Namecheap, and yeah, let's go. Let's go, guys. I am signing into my Namecheap account. I will make sure it's on screen for you guys once it's ready. And yeah. Okay. Nice. So MBA.sh, want to make sure we're going there. Okay. 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 All right. So we are ready to showcase how you can access this information. I just realized that if I show you guys my DNS configuration for MDA.sh, the bad guys can get me. So bear with me. I'm going to show you another domain. Okay. I'm not going to show you MBA.sh, but it's pretty much the same thing. All right. Let's get started. Okay. So I'm going to try and share that tab instead so you guys can see it. All right. Let me know if you can see it now. Put a 1 in the chat if you can see my DNS configuration. Okay. So you're not seeing MBA.sh. Yeah, because I have a bunch of TXT records in there, and I have a bunch of MX records in there, and a whole bunch of stuff that if I am to show online to the general public, is going to be a little bit of a security issue, and it's going to be very inconvenient for me. So please bear with me. We are going to look at domlarry.com as an example. However, replace domlarry.com with mba.sh, okay? And it's going to work just fine, all right? So what you want to do is head over, in my case, Namecheap, go to your domain list, choose your domain, and then head over to advanced settings. All right. So when you get here to advanced settings, if you have these URL redirection records, just get rid of them. This is all not necessary. Just get rid of them. And then you want to add a new record. So you want to add an A record, and the name of the record should be the subdomain that you chose. So I chose no name, right? So I'm going to put in no name here. And then you provide the IP address of the server that you just created. So I am going to go back and get the IP address of the server that I just created. All right. Once you have it, you put it in here. And then you choose 1 minute. So this is the TTL, or the time to live. This is how long it takes before the DNS servers around the world invalidates their caches, right? You want to make this a small value so you can have, real-time updates to your domain around the world. So I'm going to go ahead and save this, and we are going to look up world DNS. So go to Google with me and type world DNS. Okay. When you type world DNS, this is going to be the first thing that pops up. Okay. It's called DNS propagation. This is the tool that you use to check to see if your domain has propagated, or the changes that you made inside of your domain have propagated. So you're going to click it, and then you're going to put in your domain. So in my case, my domain was no name, and then it was noname.domlarry.com, like that. Perfect. And then you choose the A record because that's the record that we entered, and then you hit search. All right, as you can see, it's already updated in San Jose. It's already updated in Los Angeles. We are good to go. When you see this, join me again inside of the terminal so we can continue the rest of this this stuff, right? I'm going to go off screen and then do exactly what I showed you this time around for MBA.sh, right? Because, you know, I can't be flashing MBA.sh configs on the internet. All right, guys, I'm going off screen. You guys do the config, and I'm going to be with you guys in just 5 minutes, right? Or maybe less, maybe 2 minutes. Depends on how fast I'm able to configure MBA.sh. Give me a second. All right. So now that I'm off screen, I am going to go to MBA.sh. And I am going to put in the same values, right? Because we wanted to configure no name. Exactly. So I'm going to go ahead and add a new A record, call it no name. I'm going to put in our IP address. I'm going to choose 1 minute because I want a fast resolution. I've done that now. I'm going to go ahead and go to World DNS just like I showed you guys. Very simple process, by the way. Very simple process. So no name. Instead of Dom Larry, it's going to be MBA.sh. MBA.sh. Perfecto. I'm going to hit search. And wow, would you look at that? It's not resolving. I have to wait a couple more minutes before it starts to resolve. It's resolving to an old IP address. I think this part I can actually show you guys. So let me pull up that screen so you can see exactly what I mean. All right. Okay, guys, my screen should be up. I just put in no name.mba.sh. I've done the DNS configuration, but this is probably what's going to happen to you if, let's say, you have an existing domain or something. That's why it's always good to choose a very small TTL value. Yep. All right. So, wow. Guess what? Mexico is the first to pick it up. All right, Mexico. I wish I lived in Mexico, but I don't live in Mexico. And my server is located in no, it wasn't Palo Alto. It was Silicon Valley. So my God. Let's keep refreshing. Hopefully it updates quickly enough so we don't have to wait forever. So let's see. So Mexico is still the first, followed by South Africa. Wow, South Africa. Wow. W's in the chat to South Africa. South Africa.
Sensational.
South Africa it is. All right, we're going to be here for a while. That's what it looks like. We are definitely going to be here for a while. Okay. All right. So what we are going to do is we're going to allow this to propagate since it's going to take some time. And while this is propagating, we are going to go ahead and set up our Nginx or our web server. Now, this process is a little intricate, so please pay close attention. Like I mentioned, this live is going to be a little over an hour because I want this to be a little bit of a reference. So you can always come back to this video and set up a Mattermost server online with your own domain, with your own VPS, right? This is by popular request. I hope you guys are following, but Unfortunately, we got to go over an hour today. So thank you for paying attention. I appreciate the fact that you're on the live with me today. I hope you shared it with a friend. I hope you shared it with your mom or your dad or your girlfriend. Happy Valentine's Day, by the way, to everyone and their girlfriends, my girlfriend, your friend's girlfriend, your pastor's girlfriend. Oh, your pastors usually have wives, your pastor's wife. And, yeah, happy Valentine's Day. So that was just by the way, guys. Let's get back to work. So let me briefly see if this thing is propagating. Okay, it's gonna take a while to propagate. So like I said, let's do the Nginx configuration. Okay, so I'm gonna share my terminal again so we can get back. Okay. We are back on the terminal. This ugly looking, disgusting, green looking thing, but it's the thing we use to do all the cool stuff. So, unfortunately, this is what we have to deal with. Okay, so in order to do the terminal stuff, I can no longer have this claw on my hand. So pardon me, I'm gonna take it off. Okay.
A few moments later.
Let's clear the screen and now move on to the next part. So the next part involves configuring the website. So, like maybe you guys probably forgot, but we installed a platform called Nginx earlier. Now, Nginx is a web server. Now, Nginx is very easy to configure. You just have to create a file and just put a definition inside the file of how you want it to operate. So we're going to do that. So in order to do that, we're going to go to the Nginx configuration folder. This is where all the configuration folders are on Linux. We're going to go into the Nginx folder, and then we're going to go into sites available and then create one of the new sites, right? So I'm going to go there, not nano. I'm going to go to sites available. As you can see, there's going to be a default one. We want to create a new one. So I am going to create a file, an empty file. I'm going to touch.
Sensational.
Touch. That's the word.
Sensational.
Touch. That's the command you use to create a new file. So I'm going to call it the domain. So noname.mba.sh. All right. So you hit enter, you type ls, and voila, you have a file there. If you test what kind of file it is, it'll tell you it's an empty file. So that's exactly where we want to be. So after you have that file created, the next thing you want to do is open it. Definitely going to be empty. No name. All right. Now we're going to copy and paste some contents. Now these contents are going to be available inside of the community. I'm going to put the link for the community on the screen so you guys can join it. Join the community. I'm so sorry my screen wasn't sharing for some odd reason, but join us at mba.sh so you can follow along. I'm going to run it back so you can see everything that you missed, but yeah, join us. All right, so as I was saying, we were basically in the home directory, and then I said we would make our way to /etc/nginx, and inside here we had a sites available. Now we would go into sites available, and then back then the no name file didn't exist, right? So then I said you can touch
Sensational.
noname.mba.sh like this, and then it would create an empty file. The way I said you can check for the type of file is by running this command here, and then you basically get like the fact that it's empty.
Bruh.
All right, so I'm glad you're following and you're basically here with me at this point. Next thing we want to do is we want to nano that empty file. Nano basically opens it so you can type something into that empty file. And we're going to copy and paste some text in here. So I'm going to go ahead and copy and paste that text ahead of you guys. Remember, this text is going to be available inside of the community. So if you're not already a part of the community, please join it. Okie dokie. So we have the configuration inside of the file now. So what we're going to do is we're going to replace your domain with our actual domain. So noname.mba.sh. Perfect. We're going to keep this the same. All this means is that whenever Nginx gets a request for this subdomain, it's going to proxy pass that request to a localhost service running on port 8065. If you do happen to install this on your local computer, you can visit port 8065 on localhost, which is basically localhost port 8065, and you should be able to access Mattermost. All right, this seems to be the only thing that we have to configure. So once we are done, we are good to go. Okay, so I'm gonna X out of this. Remember, Control X, I'm gonna hit Y and hit enter. Okay, now we have our file in there. If you now file that file, you'll see that it actually contains ASCII text. If you look at the contents, you're gonna see it's exactly what we provided inside of Nano, which is great. Now, it's very easy to mess up your Nginx configurations, okay? Yes, it's very easy to, have a syntax error or something. So after you modify any Nginx configurations, it's always good practice to Nginx -t. Now, what Nginx -t is going to do is it's going to test the contents of all of the sites available, all of the configuration files that it has access to, and then let you know if you are good to go or not, right? Apparently, we are good to go. So let's go to the next step. All right. So I'm going to go one step back, and now we're back inside of the Nginx configuration directory. We want to go into the sites enabled next, because that's where we're going to enable the site. The way Nginx works is that you create the sites inside the sites available, and then you move it into sites enabled. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create something called a shortcut. In Linux terms, that's called a symbolic link. Default here is also a shortcut or a symbolic link. It's basically a file that points to another file. In order to create such a file, you use the ln command, right? It's called the link command, okay? I'm going to create a symbolic link. V is just so that we can see the output, just in case something goes wrong. And I'm going to provide the source. The source is here, no name, right? And then the destination is this current folder. So I'm going to use the dot to represent that. So in doing this, it's going to create a file called noname.mba.sh, and that file points to this file actually, right? All that means is that this file here is actually the same as the file in the sites available folder. Wow, that took a while to remember. I wonder what's happening with my agents.md file. But anyways, once you have this configured, I guess you're ready to run another Nginx in case anything happened. And yeah, you're good to restart Nginx. So you can restart Nginx like this, and voila, you are done. Okay, so the next thing to do actually depends on the domain propagation. So I'm going to share my screen again, and we're going to try and see if we have the domain propagation figured out or not. Okay, we're going back to our propagation tool. Don DeMarco to you. If you are still following, remember, join us at mba.sh. You can get like technical guidance like this for free from me. You can get it from the other team members some of them are actually really technical, and some of them are like non-technical people that are actually getting into this OpenClaw stuff and actually configuring this stuff for themselves, having so much fun doing it. I think it's an amazing place. This is a great mix of both non-technical and technical people. My promise to you guys is that even though these tutorials are technical, over time it's just going to keep getting less and less and less and less and less and less technical, right? Because we're going to build more tools and we're going to create more frictionless experiences, right? Because there's so many things that can go wrong, right? So Amon, right? Don DeMarco to you. There's so many things that can go wrong you doing this process, but for me, I've done this a gazillion times, right? So when things go wrong, I kind of have an idea where it is. One thing that I would not sleep on, right, if I were you guys, is I would always have Claude Code or OpenAI open when I'm doing these exercises.
Sensational.
Because it's kind of like having an expert like me, or someone that really understands Linux and understands the context of exactly what you're doing. So make sure if you're going to do this yourself and you are a non-technical person, or you don't know how to use a terminal, or this is the first time setting up a VPS, make sure you have an AI system right next to you on your phone that you could ask for guidance from. So that's enough ranting. Let's take a look at our domain now.
It's 1 o'clock.
Wow. Nice. So at least here in California, we have it propagated. So that's a good thing. Okay? We have it propagated. So that's amazing. So what we're going to do next is we are going to head back to our terminal.
A few moments later.
Okay. So pulling back the terminal. Gonna make sure it pops up this time. All right. We are good to go. So we just saw the propagation. So it's been propagated. Now we actually have our subdomain primed and ready. Now, the last step is the certbot step. Okay, certbot, I'm going to jump in there. Certbot is a tool for issuing SSL certificates. Okay, if you don't know what SSL certificates are, don't worry. It's the thing that makes websites secure. So if you go to a website and then you see that green padlock right on your address bar, that's an SSL certificate. To be honest, that's as much as I know about SSL certificates, because certbot makes it so easy to issue them. So we are going to see that in just a second. I'm gonna make sure I'm in my home directory. Doesn't really matter, but just to make sure the screen is a little bit more tidy for you guys. Nice. And we are going to issue the certbot command. So type certbot. All right. So the first thing it's going to ask you for an email.
Sensational.
This email is the email you are going to use to track the renewal cycle of your SSL certificates. SSL certificates don't live forever. They expire at some point. For certbot, I believe that they expire within 90 days. If I'm not wrong, please don't quote me on that, but it's something we can easily look up. But it takes about 3 months before this certificate you're going to get is going to expire. So give it an email. So I'm going to give it an email. So the team at mba.sh. Perfect. So after giving it an email, it's going to ask you, have you read the terms of service? Please read the terms of service. They're not liable if you use, their platform to do bad stuff. Don't do bad stuff. Bad stuff, will get you in jail. So don't do bad stuff.
Bruh.
Okay. Next thing is, it says, will you be willing once your first certificate is successful to share your email with the electronic. Yeah, you can have my email. Yeah, send me stuff. Okay, perfect. So now it's saying it has successfully detected that we have a configuration inside of our Nginx server. Now, if you haven't done the Nginx part properly, you're not going to see this part. Okay, it's very important. So I'm going to go ahead and press 1. Okay, all right. So after pressing 1, it's going to start the process of requesting the certificate for noname.mba.sh. And yeah, let's see if it works. Let's see if it works. Let's see if it works. All right, it failed for some odd reason. This is probably going to happen to you too, but it's nothing we can't diagnose. So let's figure out. So typically, the reason why this happens is 2 reasons: either DNS propagation or maybe there's a firewall. So the first thing we want to do is make sure we don't have a firewall. So on Ubuntu systems, UFW is a firewall system. If this says active, you have a firewall. Okay, all right. So I have a firewall. I don't think it's a DNS propagation thing, because we literally waited like, I don't know, 30 minutes for the DNS to propagate. So it had to be something else. And here we have it, the culprit. If this reads inactive for you, all right, then you're good to go. So I guess we have to disable the firewall, right? This is the, uncomplicated firewall or something like that for Ubuntu. Okay, so just to make sure, I'm going to ping noname.mba.sh. And yeah, that should return our IP address. Perfect. So I was 100% correct there. So what we're going to do is we're going to write UFW disable. All right. And then if you run UFW status again, you're going to see that it's inactive. Okay. Now there's nothing on this server, right, that, is insecure or is an insecure port. Okay. The Mattermost is a hardened platform running on, like internally, it's running on port 8065. But externally, we're going to be exposing it on port 80 and 443. Now, these ports are well-known ports. You can go online and look them up. These are the ports that control the web ecosystem. We're just going to keep it that way, okay? Let's not get too complicated with this, okay?
Emotional damage.
All right. Let's keep it simple and try it again. All right, so we're going to type certbot once more, and we're going to try and issue the certificate. Okay, this time around, the firewall doesn't exist, so we can have requests being sent out of the server and back. All right. As you can see, the certificate has been deployed successfully. I'm glad we saw that error, because that actually gives you guys the opportunity to actually, understand how these things work, or as it were, engage in a teachable moment. All right. So we have our certificate set up now. So do you know what we can actually do right now, guys? Do you know what we can actually do? We could actually go there now. So I'm going to share my browser. All right, guys. So we are going to try for the first time to go to noname.mba.sh. Woo! We made it, guys. We have Mattermost set up. We have it set up, guys. All right, so I'm going to use team@mba.sh. I'm going to choose no name. It's going to be the username, no name, something. And yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and create an account. We're gonna call this the No Name Organization. You guys didn't give me a name when I asked. Now I'm pissed.
Sensational.
Bruh.
I don't really mean that, guys. You guys are probably busy, but make sure the chat is always live, guys. Make sure the chat is always live because you guys can actually steer the direction of the live. And that's the crazy and like amazing thing about lives, that based on your feedback, I can actually change what I'm doing in real time. So next time, you gotta have a name. It can't be no name next time. All right, so we're going to No Name Organization. I'm just gonna keep it no name. Yeah, like that. What tools do you use? I'm gonna skip this question, and then I'm gonna go to finish setup. Fantastico, fantastico, fantastico. Okay, guys, so we finally have Mattermost set up. This is the very, very bare minimum. Okay, this is how you set up Mattermost. Now, I have a question for the chat. Do you want me to show you guys how to set up SMTP for emails inside of Mattermost so that you can send emails with Mattermost? I'm going to go into the chat, and if you guys want me to do it, I will show you. All right. So one in the chat if you want me to show you how you can set up emails with your Mattermost so that you can invite people with your Mattermost. It's just going to be a matter of you putting in their email, and then they just get invited and stuff like that. All right. I am going to allow for 3 minutes to see if anybody wants this. If none of you want it, we are going to wrap up the show and talk about something else. So let me know in the comments, do you want me to show you how to set up SMTP? If you want me to show you that, we can go through that. Or you guys are tired, we can do that inside of the community, inside of a recorded session, potentially. We could do that as well. All right. Once again, don't forget to join the community. My name is Dominic. I am running the OpenClaw Academy. We are the largest, as a matter of fact, school community on OpenClaw. And don't forget to share this with a friend. Don't forget to share this with family. This is going to keep getting less and less and less technical over time. I promise you that, okay? I'm actively working with teams around the world to make this less technical. So even your grandma can do this, because this technology is too good to leave to the developers or like the people that know how to use a terminal. You gotta be kidding me.
Bruh.
All right, we have some chats. Okay, so Max, don't worry about it at all. I know this is a little tough. One of our members, Amon, I'm gonna put him up. He requested this specific video to be made, and I think, you know, I also want this video to exist just in case anyone that actually understands these technologies wants to set up Mattermost, right? So yeah, I feel you on that. I think I am going to bring the live to, an end at this point, because, the most important part, setting up Mattermost, has been done. And I believe that moving forward, we're not going to go this technical. Like, this is really technical, guys. I completely understand if you're seeing this for the first time and you don't understand any of this, or you don't know what those commands are. Like, it's 2026. You don't need to know. Okay. I'm sure you guys know of Jensen Huang, the president and the co-founder of NVIDIA. He's said countless times that you don't need to know the details of how to program the computer anymore. That stuff is out the door. That stuff actually went out the door the moment ChatGPT came out, as a matter of fact, and it's only going to get better, right? over time, you no longer need to memorize these commands. I memorized them a long time ago. That's why I know them so well. So think of me as someone that learned to play the guitar when they were like 5, and now I'm doing these crazy riffs on the guitar, right? I think I have like a little riff here I could play for you guys. Let's see if I could pull up the riff. Do I have the riff? Nah, I don't have the riff. I usually have like a riff here. All right, this is a little hardcore, guys, but I'm going to play the riff. Imagine I have been studying like the electric guitar for like 25 years, right? And you hear me playing this song. I would rather die than live my life in fear. That is a very that is a very complicated riff, right? And you know, if you're hearing this for the first time and you just got yourself an acoustic guitar, you're like, man, that sounded really cool, but I can barely even hold the strings, or I can barely even hold like the guitar. That's exactly how you feel. And I completely understand. But in today's world, right, AI is the great equalizer. All I'm trying to say is this is completely unnecessary. So don't feel bad. Don't feel like you have to learn this stuff. Don't feel like you have to memorize any of this. You don't. Okay. Now to the part, you know, I've been putting off for a while.
Sensational.
I am currently based in the Bay Area. I am now in Palo Alto, San Francisco, in California. I know I've mentioned a couple locations. For those of you that are here, I am happy to meet you. I am here to grow the community from the center of all of the action. Peter Steinberger is probably going to move here. Based on some rumors I've heard, Peter Steinberger, who is the creator of OpenClaw, is I know he's considering it, and he talks about this, in his interview with Lex Friedman. So if you haven't watched that, please go watch it. He is potentially going to join forces with one of the big labs, and it's probably going to be Meta or OpenAI. Less likely going to be Anthropic, but hey, you never know. You never know. So he's probably going to be in this particular area. Like I mentioned, I am one of the core contributors for OpenClaw. I contributed the Mattermost plugin, and today we're setting up Mattermost, and it's been it's been a lot of terminal, right? Hopefully, and as a matter of fact, I know that in the coming weeks, I'll be releasing certain tools inside of our community that's going to make it very easy to install OpenClaw locally. Okay, so that's the first thing that I'm working on. If any of you on the community are engineers, right, I'm going to make the engineering process very transparent and open source. As a matter of fact, I entreat you to reach out to me, or I'll just have like a post inside of the community requesting, if you guys are developers and you guys want to help me build this technology, I would pretty much appreciate your support. What we're trying to do here is we're trying to create a tool that will allow even non-technical people to install OpenClaw locally on their computers and try it out. Currently, there is no tool on the internet that can help you do that. People have to open terminals or go online and pay, someone, right? I think last Sunday, I created a tool called Claude Arena. And these are all of the tools that are ready to take your money, right? These guys are all ready to take your money. You can, I'm not saying that they're bad. They're not bad. Some of these are actually YC companies. I think this one is a YC company or something like that. and this is the AI.com guy, the guy that bought the domain for 70 million bucks, right? But you should be able to set up OpenClaw on your computer and play with it in a very seamless, and enjoyable way, right? So, yeah, I'm going to post on the community. Please join the community. I'm going to have the link up in just a second. Let me, go back to Mattermost so we can have that up. Please join the community. And I'm going to post, first of all, this is what I'm going to post. I'm going to post the tutorial for today on the community so you can follow. If you want to install Mattermost on a VPS, we've gone through the process today. It's very simple. You're going to be able to do it, no sweat. The next thing is, if you are an engineer, or you have, even if you're not an engineer, if you want to be a part of building a solution, right, to help the community, join me inside a thread I'm going to create, right, for building a new solution that will enable all of the non-technical people on this, community to be able to install OpenClaw easily on whatever platform, whether it's Windows, it's Mac, it's Linux. All they have to do is just install one piece of software, click a button, and be on their merry ways to enjoy all of the useful, benefits that you get with OpenClaw. So I really look forward to you guys joining in on that exercise. It's been an amazing experience being live with you. Thank you all for tuning in. It's been what's the word? Phenomenal. It's been phenomenal, being on a live with you guys and getting all the feedback. Thank you for being a part of today's live. I will be live again in the next 48 hours on Tuesday with something very exciting. Okay? So make sure you have that on your calendars. We're going to be live. We're probably going to be live with, I'm not going to spoil it for you. Join the community, okay? Join the community. And I'm going to have all of the details there. And you're going to be able to follow along. And I really hope that through our engagement, we can hasten the promise, right? We can make it so, Peter Steinberger said something about this is the year that everyone is going to have a personal AI assistant. I want us to be one of the biggest driving forces that makes this a reality. So please join the community. I'm going to make sure it's up. I always repeat this, and I'm always going to repeat this, that now is the time to take advantage. Okay? Don't have your lunch eaten by some group of guys that somehow discovered this technology and are, getting a whole bunch of, value out of it. And you guys are not getting value. No, you guys are with the MBA team. Okay? Making better agents is what we're going to do. And OpenClaw is going to allow us to do it. Thank you guys for paying attention and joining today's live. It's been my pleasure. My name is Dominic, and until next time, see you later.